I've coached over 200 players in Marvel Rivals, from bronze all the way up to eternity. And through my coaching, I've learned that plenty of people worry about their aim, their positioning, all these other things, when that might not be the real issue. And in this episode of Shotty's Yap Session, we're going to talk about how the correct answer might be to do nothing. And if you guys are new here, this is a series where I yap about a topic, and you turn me on in the background while you do something else. Or, if you really want to, you can watch some mid-gameplay. Let's get right into it. Now, when most people hear, do nothing, what are you talking about? If I do nothing, I'm going to die. Listen, there's a lot of ways in this game that you can do nothing and be extremely impactful. Or just sometimes people, when they're doing something, they do too much, right? An example of this could be, let's say, you're doing damage. This is an oversimplification, but if you're doing damage and you're just doing a ton of damage, but your team's not there, and there's essentially zero chance of you getting the kill, that would be a better time to just do nothing, right? Because all you're going to do is charge healer ults, maybe charge yours, but some people even do it when their ultimate's full, and it's just throwing, right? You're not really creating pressure, you're not doing much of anything. And I'm going to give you guys a lot more examples about how doing nothing is an extremely good idea, and it'll win you fights, win you games, and it'll even solve common problems that you have, but you couldn't figure out why you have them. Now, since I used that example to start with, I guess we could start with that general idea. Starting fights, waiting for your team, things like that. First of all, I don't even notice it sometimes, right? You guys can be guilty of it too, because, listen, everybody does this. I have yet to know anyone who doesn't at least once make this mistake, which is the common fighting when your team's dead, right? I have so many times just sat there fighting for my life. Guys, come on. I'm 2% off ult. And then as soon as I get it, I just hit my ult and just go for it. Then I look behind me, I was like, guys, come on. They're all one shot. What are we doing? I look back and everybody's gone, right? It's just, it happens. And if you've ever watched like higher level play, in higher level play, the amount of times you'll see people just stand still and let themselves die to regroup with their team is crazy. Right? Especially this was extremely common in Overwatch. In comp and Overwatch, everybody was okay with just jump off the map. Yeah, jump off the map, restart, reset. And instead of just fighting, instead of doing nothing, essentially. And this is what a lot of us are doing. A lot of us are fighting to the death. Everyone's fighting like, oh, come on, let's hit that clip. And don't get me wrong. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I'm a firm believer of hit the clip. Listen, go for it. You want to go be on TikTok? Hell yeah. But there are times to do it, right? If there's 6 of them and you're one person, be realistic with yourself. Sit there, let yourself die, restart. Preferably, don't give them the ult charge. Jump off the map if you can, but this game doesn't have a ton of ledges on the map, so Now, I know that example to some is like, bro, that's boring. I don't care. Of course, like, you should regroup. Duh. Don't worry. Later on in the video, I'm going to tell you guys about how just shooting, you're losing your games. And this works for every single role. But before we get into that, I gotta cover all the basics. So, the other basic is playing slower in fights. One thing about this game is a lot of people treat it like all or nothing. A lot of people pretend like, I have to be in this fight, I have to be in the middle of it the whole time, I have to be doing something always. If you've ever watched, Wolverine's a really good example of this. Back in the day, Wolverine gameplay, I guess now, but it's not as common now, so I'm using back in the day as an example. Back in the day, Wolverine gameplay was pretty much wall simulator. Even magic sometimes. Wall simulator. You just sit there looking around a corner using third person to your advantage and just waiting. That's what the game is, pretty much. Just waiting. And nobody is okay with that. Everyone goes stir crazy, just, but I'm not hitting anything. I'm throwing for my team. Like hyperventilating, shaking back and forth in a corner. You know, but we have to learn to be okay with just sitting there, because there's so many times that because we're sitting there, we get stir crazy and we say, you know what, forget it, I'm going in, rush in for a fight, or just go push for a fight that isn't there, and we completely throw. And this is also why Dive has a skill ceiling, or a skill floor, I guess. Whatever. That's why Dive's skill floor is so low. I guess that's how I could say it, right? Yeah. And if you don't know what I mean by skill floor and skill ceiling, skill floor is, if you pick this up, if the skill floor is really, really bad, you can do extremely bad, right? For example, Scarlet Witch, her skill floor is pretty high. The reason why is because she auto-aims. So if you had no thumbs and you played with your toes, you would still be able to play better than somebody playing Spider-Man for the first time that has no thumbs. And that's the difference in skill floor. How much value and how easily you can get value out of a character without skill, basically. Skill ceiling is how good you can be at the upper level if you mastered everything. For example, Spider-Man, the crazy stuff you can do on him when you've mastered the rollouts, when you've mastered the movement, when you've mastered everything is crazy compared to someone like, I don't know, I guess we could use Scarlet again. There's not insane tech on her, right? There's not some super special you can do. You kind of just suck people, bomb people. Of course there's a little more to it, but it's not super high skill ceiling. It's not like, oh, you have to do this like this or that, and then this, and then you have to master this. Then you have to do a 7-key input to do this combo correctly. Yeah, no. It's hold left click, click right click. And then, yeah, shift out of there sometimes, But dive is so hard for some people to play because they don't have that patience. Dive is a more opportunistic playstyle, especially if you don't have a team that's not diving with you. So if you're solo diving, right? Like if you're Psylocke playing the backline, or if you're just a Spider-Man with a regular team comp, you have to play extremely opportunity-based, which means you have to wait a lot. You have to be useless a lot because it's better to be useless for 3 kills in the fight and then get the 4th one compared to trying too hard to be useful early on in the fight and dying right away and being helpful for nothing except for enemy ult charge. And you also have to remember, a lot of this is mental. A lot of people in this game, once they see an enemy lose a teammate, they push artificially. Like, they'll just start barrel stuffing you, even if nothing really changed. Right? Just because you were hiding in a corner and did not die, that was still subconscious pressure to the enemy team. And you're doing nothing. You're cosmetic. You're literally a fly on the wall, or I guess a spider, But just do nothing. Sit there for a second and wait for an opportunity to do your role. And this is a primarily Vanguard and Duelist thing, right? Strategist is something different that I'll be talking about in a little while. But for Vanguard and Duelist, you have to be sometimes okay with doing nothing. Just sitting there and waiting for an opportunity to push, to get a pick, to do whatever. Now, besides that, everyone knows the basic play slow and wait for your team to come back so you can go fight. That's obvious, right? If you don't wait for them, you could get picked. If you don't have your ultimate already, at least you could charge it. But if you do have your ultimate, all you're doing is charging enemy healer ults. Now, if you're something like a Hawkeye that can actually just take someone out of the fight without any team shot or anything, even if they're getting healed, then there's some merit to pushing up, right? Within a safe distance. But if you're not, if you're like Punisher, who's never going to kill anybody at far range, if there's a healer pocketing them, you might as well just go sit with your team because you're just throwing. Now, another example of this was, a friend of mine actually talked about this. We were playing, and I was playing Hela, and I kept trying to play different angles against this Hela, but his team was much better than mine in terms of paying attention, healing, pocketing, everything. I was pretty much 1v1ing him raw. No healing, no nothing. And I beat him a lot. But near the end, he was set up on a rooftop, and I just could not fight him. So what I did was I kept peeking him. I peeked from different angles. I went high, I went low. I kept fighting him, but I was fighting him in a fair fight. And my friend told me, he was like, bro, why don't you just bait our team and then peek him? And it was a bad time for him to say that because I was already pissed. I was like, I'm losing. I'm mad as hell. Why would you tell me that? So it didn't go well, the conversation, but he was completely right. If I had waited for Hela to be fighting my team and not looking at me, I could have been sitting on a different rooftop waiting for him and only peeked and only showed myself when he was fighting somebody else. So I would have easily gotten the pick. And yes, I did already complain about the healers, my team, the enemy team's healers are so much better, etc. And it was true. I was right. But I could have played around it still. I still could have done something instead of throwing my own life, trying to do the same thing over and over, like the definition of insanity. Now, I mentioned aim earlier with Scarlet Witch. If you guys don't know, I've been coaching aim for a long time now, and I've coached the aim of over 100 players. And one thing that I've learned from it is that every single player, pretty much 98% of players, have the exact same aim issues, and it's a technique issue, meaning that it ruins all sections of aim. And that's what I usually focus on the most in my aim coaching. And in Gosu Academy, for completely free, on the 27th of April, I'm going to be teaching you what the most common issue for aim is. So all you have to do is sign up in the description, and I'll see you on the 27th. Now, before we get to the main point about how just shooting could be throwing your games, I think this is a good enough time to have the middle of the Yap session. And if you guys are new here, this is the part of the video where I normally talk to the audience. And if you want to skip it, I always leave timestamps. Now, you know what's funny? I actually wasn't going to do the middle of the Yap again in this episode, but my last one, I didn't do it, and I got like 5 comments, where's the middle of the Yap? I love you guys. You know how cute that is? That's so cool to be able to, like, I talk to my audience and I just sit here and yap about it. And there are people that are actually like, bro, where is it? That's honestly really strange, but it's so cool. The reason why I didn't do the middle of the yap last time was because, honestly, I didn't have much to talk about. I made that video like a day after my last because I was like, oh, this is a good idea. Let me get to it. So I rushed it out. So instead of just repeating what I said last time, pretty much, which isn't really genuine, I was like, hold off. They'll live without one middle of the yap. But I guess not. You know, I was going to ask you guys, do you think I should do like a subscriber challenge? Because I want to hit 100K, but I want to make it a game, you know? Like how back in the day they used to do like sub goals. Oh, if we hit 50,000 this video, I'll eat whatever the top comment says. You know what? That's a good idea. If you watch this, I should totally do if we hit 50,000 subscribers by Sunday, April 27th, I'll eat whatever the top comment is. Yeah, let's do that. 50K by Sunday. And please make the top comment reasonable. If you guys tell me like battery acid, bro, I'm not doing that. I'm not eating battery acid. Like, come on. But yeah, I think we're about 45,000. That's crazy. So thank you guys so much. And just like the beggar I am, I'll ask once again, please leave a like and a comment. Please. It helps the video. It helps me. Please leave a comment. Tell me about how good the video was. Use keywords like, wow, this is the greatest guide in Marvel Rivals. This is the greatest tips ever in Marvel Rivals. I bet that would work too. I bet this video would go viral if I did that, or if you guys did that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, try it out. Appreciate it. And if you guys watched before the middle of the app, yeah, that aim class that I'm doing in Gosu, awesome. I can't wait to teach everybody because in all of my aim training classes, I give people a routine. I give them an aim routine for certain issues, very fundamental issues that they have and all that. And in Gosu Academy, I'm going to teach everybody the part of the technique that I teach everyone that's my student. So it's still valuable for people who haven't got my coaching, and it's still valuable for people who have got my coaching. So it's not like, bro, I spent this money on the coaching, now he gave it all for free. All I'm teaching is the technique, but the technique, if you decide to do stuff on your own, is all you need. So it still helps everybody. And if you don't know, Gosu Academy also does Marvel Rivals coaching, primarily Marvel coaching, so check it out. Anyways, I love you guys. Let's get back to the yapping. Now, how is shooting on every roll throwing your games? And why should you be doing nothing? Well, first of all, as a strategist, have you ever been sitting there and right when someone takes damage, you need to reload? Well, I've coached, I think the highest level strategist I've coached was Celestial 3. Yeah, I think it was Celestial 3. Funny enough, I think the only people that hit Eternity from Grandmaster my coaching, which if you don't know, I had 4 people hit it. 3 of them were tank, 1 was a DPS player. So, pretty funny. A lot of tank players. I guess tank is the easiest to climb on if you know how to take space properly. I think tank is really hard, but I do think it is probably the best to climb on because so many tanks are so bad, and tank is so impactful in this game. But anyways, when you're fighting in this game, so many strategists I've coached, probably on average 90% of them, maybe 95%, do this issue, which is one of them, spam shooting into full health teammates. Nobody in this game is okay with not shooting. And as a strategist, if you spam shoot, and I'll talk about how this also affects duelists and tank in a little while, if you spam shoot, all you're doing is healing someone who doesn't need healing, not doing damage to the enemy team, not helping out fighting, and making it so that probably when they actually need healing, you need to reload. Do you see how bad that is? Like, it doesn't get much worse. Not helping the team and making it so that when you need to help them, you can't. Take a step back, and if you see people are full health, just sit there. You can just sit there and do nothing and still be more impactful. Now, what about when should I be spam shooting? You actually should be. Which, let me explain. Sometimes a tank is about to round a corner, and it is perfectly understandable for you to spam shoot into him to preemptively start compensating for the amount of damage he's going to take, right? Not always the best idea, so don't just do it every time. Like, oh boy, he's about to start a fight. Time to mag dump. But do it when it's necessary. You'll learn when it's necessary from playtime. But don't dump your mag before a fight starts. So many times I see people do that. Now, what about you DPS and tank players? Oh my god. And this also goes for strategists. Oh my god, please. If you have a character that is a semi-fire character, so meaning Luna Snow, Adam Warlock's left click, Hela, characters like that, please, for all that's good and holy, unless you're shooting big booty venom, stop holding your shoot button. If you hold your shoot button, first of all, so many times people shoot bullets into the wall and they just don't hit anything, or they're just shooting because for fun. I don't know. Just sit there. It's okay to not shoot. And when you are shooting at someone, take your time. If you're holding left click the whole time, by the time it takes your brain to actually get to on target, like your mouse and everything gets on target, you might have shot already because you're holding the shoot button, so you're not in control of where your shots are going. It becomes a timing game and an aim game instead of just aiming. So between each shot, breathe. Aim deliberately. Don't just hold your shoot button. With every single shot you make, pretend as if you only have one bullet. And if you do this, I guarantee you will see a noticeable improvement in your aim and playstyle, without a doubt. Now, for the last and best point about doing nothing, remember, this game is about improvement, right? If you're trying to improve, it's not just, I snap my fingers and I'm perfect. I snap my fingers and I'm the best. Take it slow, right? Rest days are more important than everything else, and a lot of people don't treat video games like working out. Video games and working out are almost beat for beat, bar for bar, the exact same thing. And let me explain. So, for video games, if you train something, if you practice something, will you see a difference after a day? Probably not. Will you see it after a week? Probably a little bit, probably not though. After a month, you probably won't even notice it, but then you look at how your aim was a month before, and it's completely unrecognizable. Just like you train your arms every day or every 3 days or whatever for a month. Day 1, you didn't notice anything. Day 6, you didn't notice anything. But after a month, you look back at your old photos like, wait a second, I didn't have that vein there. I didn't have that line there. And it's the exact same thing. Even rest days. If you've ever tried playing video games every single day and training too, like practicing, you've noticed that sometimes you go on vacation or something, you come back and you're playing better. Purely because before you were playing every single day, all day, never giving your body a chance to breathe, work, improve, anything. And if you don't know, our body basically does all of our learning and everything in our sleep. So if you never sleep, or if you sleep for 6 hours, you're going to get nothing. So learn to get off the game. Learn to breathe. Learn to relax. Learn to drink water, please. Go outside, get sunlight. Do nothing. Because doing nothing is how you'll be able to get everything you want. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I want to get great at the game. Maybe I just want to have more fun. Maybe I want to just enjoy the game more. Not playing the game for a day or two or for a few hours or whatever could be the reason why you're not getting it, right? That's all you'd have to do to get it. You're just one day of doing nothing away from everything you want. So just relax. Just sit there and do nothing. Have some fun. Do something outside of the game. Sleep. Get rest days. Work out. Do anything and just chill. That's all it takes. Anyways, if you guys like free stuff, check out the top link in the description for a month free of coaching at Gosu Academy. And if you like me yapping, check out this playlist right here. It's all of my yap sessions. Perfect for turning on the background. Maybe you got a road trip. Maybe you're at work. Click that playlist and let it play. I love you guys. Have a good one. God bless you.